Egypt as a country we know for its pyramids. So to know more about the country and its culture, we have the Ambassador of Egypt, His Excellency Khaled Al-Baqly.
Yeah, thank you very much for taking interest in coming to our embassy and presenting us to your viewers. So you're welcome.
Sir, Egypt as a country we know for its pyramids. The first thing that basically comes into our minds is the pyramids, the mummies when we hear about Egypt. What else is there in Egypt or the audiences can know?
Well, Egypt is a 94 million of population these days, and strategically located, we are the country that is connecting your continent, which is Asia, to Africa. So we have a dear part of Egypt in Asia. Secondly, we are very old friends as the two countries. Pharaohs used to trade with India, if the Indian viewers do not know this. And there is a lot that came with Alexander the Great when he was coming to your part of the world. And throughout time we had continued political and cultural and economic relations. We have a good economy. Our economy is the most diversified in the continent. We have agriculture, we have industry, and we have tourism, and we have services. And we have a young population as you have in India currently. More than 65% of the population of Egypt is below 20, and they are very well educated, and if you talk to them, they will tell you we love India very much.
We all know that India and Egypt both are ancient countries. So now what efforts are we making to get the countries together?
As one of the very oldest civilizations, we cherish very much our values and principles, and this is something that on the bilaterals and at the international level we coordinate on political matters to preserve those values and principles on non-intervention and support to developing countries in the south, and finding a role for the developing world in the decision making at the international level. So this is on the political level. What we are doing is a number of visits that are taking place between the two countries currently because of elections in India and elections in Egypt. I am sure that you know that we are going also to presidential elections on the 26th and 27th of May to choose the upcoming president of the country. So for the time being there are no visits, but before that we had a presidential visit to India with 6 ministers, and we had our foreign minister in December also visiting India. The Joint Commission took place a year and a half ago, and it's due by the end of this year. Foreign Office consultations are taking place on a number of issues. Economic and trade relations are growing. If I can quickly tell you that in 2010 our bilateral trade was $3.2 billion. Currently we stand at 5.3, which is quite a good increase in trade volumes. Not forgetting the time of instability that we have gone through in Egypt, it could have added more and more venues, but we also have investments on both sides, and we're going to announce very soon big projects in the development area. And as we see other countries, we would welcome also Indian investors and Indian businesses to come and flourish in Egypt.
Knowing Egypt, we've known that it is the most populous in the Middle East, and it is the third most populous in African continent. So what makes it the most populous? What all do we have there in Egypt that is making it the most populous?
Well, it's a normal population growth. We've been trying to control the population growth, but our efforts did not succeed 100%. We managed to do some family planning, and what we care to do is to make it a positive, not a negative increase. So we provide education and we provide opportunities, and hopefully that this would yield into another generation, and we actually started to see a generation that is very well educated and connected to the world, that is bringing the change in the country. As for why you have Nigeria and Egypt is the second actually in population. As for the Middle East, this is an asset because it's a labor force that is yielding lots of remittances. Our remittances are beyond $20 billion a year, and this is an added value to the country's resources. So we train our labor, and we make use of the markets that are available at different parts, not only in the Gulf, but we have Egyptians that are in Europe, in America, in Australia, and it's an asset to the country.
So here comes a very nice point. Excellency is saying that Egypt is an asset, so this is what is making it the most populous country. Now coming down to the tourism. The tourism is one of the most important sectors of Egypt. That what is there which attracts the tourism in Egypt?
Again, we have invested a lot to our treasures. So we have the treasures on the ground, and it's not only pharaonic, but we have the Coptic era, we have the Islamic era, and we have modern museums also. So in each city in Egypt there is a museum that we really cherish. I can quickly tell you that on the 25th of January in 2011, when the first revolution happened in Egypt, the younger generation, maybe your age, and there was a big rumor that there is an attempt on the National Museum by some thieves. So they stood hand in hand in a very big circle, and the National Museum is very big, in a very big circle, protecting the museum and the antiquities. This is a reflection of how Egyptians look to their history, and they want to preserve it. So preservation is something that we care for, and we do a lot of renovation and restoration activities. So whole districts, we bring the original books of the buildings and the antiquities, and we do restoration. We promote different kinds of tourism, desert tourism, which is the safaris, beach tourism, and religious tourism for Christians in Egypt, and for Muslims, Shia, they come to visit shrines of the holy, of the disciples, and there is a lot that we offer as Egypt in this area.
So this is for all our viewers to know that the tourism which is attracted to Egypt is because they've planned something special for Christians and Muslims. They've been planning it regularly, the beaches and everything. So probably the next vacations you can go and enjoy yourself in Egypt. Now coming down to sports. Sports is one thing that connects two countries very well together. Egypt has 16 medals in African Championship. So what are the further future plans, and where can we see Egypt in future in sports?
Well, before football and soccer, because I know that soccer maybe is followed in Calcutta and in some other areas, but not as your cricket. For us, squash. Squash, we are the world champions in squash, men and women, and seniors and juniors, and handball also, we are world champions. Football, we used to be number 10 in 2010, and we are coming again with a strong team. Basketball, you mentioned, but we are not that big at the international level. Maybe we are champions in Africa, but not at the international level. And this is rightly mentioned that sports bring people-to-people relations, especially when it is between the younger generation. They grow up together, they know each other, and they follow each other where they are. So we look forward to see more activities between the two countries, Egypt and India, in the sports field.
So you've just mentioned that you are probably not very good at the international level and just at the African. So what are your plans to improve that side of it?
Well, it comes with too many elements. You have to have international coach and trainers. You have to play a lot with the better teams. And the most natural response here will come, and you need finance to do this. So if you are a developing country, and then you would allocate your resources in a objective manner. So if you want to do this and you want to do something else, then what the people would tell you, help the poor first before you go to the international level. So maybe we balance our directions. We find a good qualified Egyptian trainer to take care of this, and we take care of the poor also economically.
Now coming down to the festivals, what are the most important festivals of Egypt and how are they celebrated?
We are a 94 million population, and 90% of the population is Muslims and 10% Christians. So we celebrate both festivals, then Ramadan and Bayram and the Big Bayram and the Christian holidays, and they are all national holidays celebrated in the country. But secondly, we did not forget the pharaonic history of the country. It's part of our culture and civilization, so we do celebrate something that your viewers might be interested to know, that we have the same Holi in Egypt, which is thousands of years celebration. We bring the colors and we boil the eggs and we color them, and the young children make their drawings, and that day people go out to the parks and they eat whatever green that day, and we have something attached to this also as a pharaonic celebration, the yield of the river, which is the flood time in August. It should be the maximum time the river receives water, and this is a big celebration that is related to life. This is agriculture and this is food for the old fair. So until today we do a celebration also in that. So there are too many celebrations in the country, and this is related to its identity and its culture, so you cannot forget it.
Here comes a very, very interesting part, knowing that Egypt also celebrates the Holi like we Indians do it, and besides there are many other festivals, one of the important festivals being celebrated in August because a life is celebrated there, the rivers are flooded with water at that particular point of time. अब हम रुक रहे हैं एक छोटे से ब्रेक के लिए, इसी तरह बातों का सिलसिला जारी रहेगा, बने रहिए मुनसिफ के साथ। ब्रेक के बाद हमारे नाजरीन का फिर से स्वागत है खास मुलाकात में। सर, इंडिया एंड इजिप्ट आर ट्रेडिंग as for now in oil, in power. So what are the further plans that Egypt and India are making?
We are trading beyond oil and gas. We are trading in rock phosphates. We are trading in seeds, in leather, in food products, in chemicals and petrochemicals. We are trading in car components, in full car manufactured in India. We are trading in machines, and we have good also cooperation in IT sector. What we are aiming at is we are launching very soon the Suez Canal Development Corridor, which is a huge project for transit and reproduction, and it's an open invitation for India to come. China's coming, South Korea, some German and British companies, and Gulf countries. We are also launching a $40 billion project for building new 11 cities, 1 million units of houses, and this could be also another opportunity for Indian companies to come and work. We have investment projects in roads and in transportation and in electricity, solar and wind, and we are going to see the presidential elections on 26 and 27, and immediately after I believe lots of the announcements will be coming. So we welcome all our Indian friends to come and work with us besides other countries.
So here's another news. You can say that the project which are being worked on one of the important project is the Suez Canal Corridor, wherein India is also invited, China is also coming there. So probably we can have that a better way to connect between the two countries. Coming down to the elections that would take place next month on 26th and 27th, Egypt has faced difficult times. So what do you think? How can things be worked on?
Well, with challenges comes opportunities, and the younger generation is driving towards a change. They want to see their aspirations coming true. And this is well taken by the country as a whole. Secondly, we have already adopted the new constitution. It's not 100% new, it's an amended one, focusing on freedoms and rights, and it is something that we take pride in. Preparations for the presidential elections are taking place, so we are going to see the presidential elections taking place in the missions abroad, in the embassies of Egypt abroad, starting the 15th of May up to the 18th of May. Then results will not be announced until the elections take place back at home on 26 and 27. It will be from one round only, because we have currently remained with two candidates, and they are both of them very good names. So we wish them luck, and we're sure that both of them will, if winning, will do the maximum to take the country a step forward and realizing the dreams of the people.
So now coming down to the monuments of Egypt, there are two great monuments because of which Egypt is really known, the Great Necropolis and the Great Sphinx. Tell us something about the history of these two monuments.
Out of the seven wonders of the world, we have the pyramids, we have the Sphinx, but we have also the Bibliotheca Alexandrina, which was destroyed by an earthquake and a fire. We have rebuilt that with the assistance of the UNESCO and the international community, and it's becoming one of the wonders of the world now, and it's worth visiting. But also in Luxor and in Aswan, we have huge temples that show the wonders that continue to be from that time until today. And maybe I can cite that there is a festival, again I didn't mention that in the beginning, that takes place twice a year, when the rays of the sun come from the windows of the temple of Ramses II deep inside to shed light on the face of the king. This comes twice, on the day of his birthday and the day when he sat on the throne, and it shows how calculations and engineering was brilliant at that time, and it continues to be until today. As for the pyramids and the Sphinx, your viewers must know, reading history, that the Sphinx is a statue, embodies the strongest animal, which is the lion. So this is the body of the statue, and the head is the head of a human being, which is the wisdom of the creatures. And it was built there to protect the pyramids due to the beliefs of the pharaohs who built the pyramids. And the pyramids were built more than 3,800 years ago, BC, and so it should be 5,000 years and more now. And they were built in glorification of the kings who built them, and they had chambers containing the mummies of the kings and their food and jewelry. And this is why, because Egyptians at that time used to believe in resurrection, which is life after death, so that when the life will come back to the dead pharaoh, he would wake up and find his clothes and his jewelry and money, and of course the money was in gold. So they even thought of that. So this is part of the beliefs. And we have a very beautiful program that runs in the evening in 7 languages, which is the Sound and Light. And for the viewers of the pyramids, when they go there, the history is being narrated, how it was built. And by the way, nobody until now knows exactly how it was built. During flood time, stones used to be moved and brought up, and labor and engineering And where are the secret rooms? Because up till today they are still unraveling. Yesterday, 50 mummies have been announced to be found out in Aswan. So it's a continued narration of history of the country.
So for the knowledge of our viewers, two important things that come this way are first, that yesterday around 50 mummies were found in Osman, and the second piece of news, or for the knowledge of our viewers, comes out that there's another festival that is celebrated in Egypt, which is when the rays of the sun go inside the temple on the face of the king twice in a year. First when he was born, and second when he sat on his throne. Now coming to the IT sector of Egypt, there are many officials of India, the high-ranked officials, which are there in Egypt and basically working in the IT sector. What kind of relations it has developed, what developments has it made, or how has it helped to build a better relationship with India?
Well, whatever expertise that a country gets should be appreciated. So we appreciate the expertise of the Indian diaspora in Egypt in the IT sector. They work in hospitals and in banks mainly. Secondly, we have a number of 10 big companies, IT companies, that have already took offices in Egypt, and they work from Egypt to assist in the developing of the IT sector. Secondly, it's a growing sector in the economy of Egypt, and our exports are around $800 million. Of course, we cannot compare here with India, but we have a good sector, and actually there is an ongoing cooperation between the two sides, and we might be seeing a delegation, a very senior delegation coming from Egypt in the month of June to collaborate with their Indian counterpart.
So, sir, Egypt is considered as the most diversified country. What are the further plans to improve it more in this context?
Well, we have a challenge, and the challenge is to provide jobs. We have a younger generation that is educated, they speak lots of languages, and they are skilled, but there are no job opportunities. So what we aim at for the immediate time after the elections is to launch big infrastructure projects. Economically, this is one of the things that are advisable for countries in transition like ours, is to absorb as much as we can from the labor that is unemployed. Secondly, we will go for a number of industries that we require in the country, and this would be in solar and in wind energies, so that we produce our own requirements in order to go more green as an economy. But secondly, to create and generate the power that is required for the country to develop. If you will continue developing on oil and gas, then this is doomed to end at a certain day, and it's polluting the economy, and it's getting expensive if you compare it to investments on longer term with wind and solar. We've been building wind farms for the last 25 years, and we have a robust production, but we want to increase more. And again, here we have cooperation with India. It's not that big on solar, but it is there, and there are opportunities for Indian companies to come and work. Now we have introduced last week a new term for foreign investors, as they can come and generate energy and sell it directly to the consumers through the national grid. So such an arrangement was not there before. It was an issue. How can you sell energy to poor people, and how can you provide energy to those who are well-to-do? So different levels of payments and tariffs and all this have been introduced over the years, and now this is something that would encourage more and more of the businesses to come and generate power in Egypt.
So basically India and Egypt are working on the same platform for providing jobs to the youngsters basically during the elections. This is something that I think Egypt and India are planning in common, something for the country, I think. So Egypt and India are planning on the same platforms to provide jobs to the youngsters, and this is something that is really nice, and this is something which might help our youngsters to grow.